today's session. So, till now, what we have learned in the session number one, we started with understanding what inbound marketing is, why it's becoming more and more critical for businesses, because the role of customer in the buying process have changed. Like, primarily, customer is in the research mode rather than the buying mode. So, primarily, customer is looking for information rather than way to do transaction. So up to 95% prospects on your website are there to research, not to buy. But as many as 70% of them will either buy from you or from your competitors over a period of time. So there's a huge potential of conversion that is with these customers, but they're primarily in the research mode. So they're looking for information when they visit your website. And that happens with each one of us as a digital user as well. So why inbound marketing is becoming more and more critical? Because role of customer in the buying process have changed. They're looking for information. And inbound marketing is all about looking at customers' journey in an integrated way and providing them with the information that could help them in the right, moving into the right direction of decision making. So we started with understanding how we can attract audiences in an inbound way. That was what we discussed in session number one. We saw whenever you're launching a digital business, how you can build reach for that business, how you can attract audiences for that digital business. In the session number two, we learned about audience aggregation. We saw what is audience aggregation. It's all about creating a platform between the business and potential users so that you we could reach out to them at a later stage by providing them with the right information to move them forward in the decision making process. So we learned what is audience aggregation, what are the upsides of audience aggregation. Once we aggregate audiences, we can utilize it for promoting content. We can utilize it to refunnel users depending on the stage they dropped off from. After that, we discussed like how to aggregate audiences, what are the channels that are available, what are the criteria based on which you could select the channels and all. So that was something we discussed in session number two. So session one and two combined creates phase one of inbound marketing, that is attracting and aggregating audiences. In the last session, that is session number three, we learned about phase two of inbound marketing, that is conversion optimization. How we can create much more optimized customer journey on our website to get more people to convert off. We took example of Kissmetrics, saw like how they have created website journey for visitors on their blog pages. Once customers sign up for the free trial, how they have created series of emails to reach out to those customers. And ultimately, we discussed about important factors of customer psyche, that if we take care, we can get more conversions. And then ultimately, we learn about how we can create landing pages which are conversion oriented. So, what are the questions that we need to address? What are the important factors that we need to mention on the web page so that to address the questions that could come up in customers' mind? Now, today's session is phase three of inbound marketing. We'll learn about lifecycle emails. We'll see what are lifecycle emails, what are the upsides of lifecycle emails, what are the different objectives that lifecycle emails could be used for. So this is something we'll learn in the second part of the session. We'll learn about drip email marketing campaigns. We'll see how we can set up a drip email marketing campaign. We'll take up two examples. And then at the end of the session, we'll take up a business case to build drip email marketing campaign strategy for a particular business. So Bharat have a question. The landing page template was such that people have to scroll down for further information. Is it okay that info is to be provided so people can scroll or give every? Bharat, that's a subjective choice that you have. So there is no standard guideline to it. If you believe the customers who will visit that landing page will require a lot more information, obviously you can't put all the information in the viewable area. Okay, you will need to spill the information across uh, the web page. And if you think that within the less information, with less information itself, customer will be able to have better experience, or you will be able to answer each and every question, that could be done as well. So it's a subjective call depending on the business you have, or depending on like what kind of information you think could help your customer. Does that make it clear, Bharat? Okay. So, guys, by listening to life cycle emails, what do you think? Like, based on your understanding till now, if you have to define life cycle emails, what are life cycle emails? By the name itself, like, what do you think? What does life cycle emails depict? Guys, I'm waiting for your responses. Like, I could see six people online. I haven't got any response till now. Okay, emails tailored for consumer in various stages of the buying process. That's close. So there are multiple ways to look at lifecycle emails. We discussed the previous session, summary of previous sessions, guys. So there are multiple ways to look at lifecycle emails. So you will find different definitions of lifecycle emails, different objectives that lifecycle emails are being used for. So few of the majorly viewed ways to define lifecycle email is first one is sending the right email to the right person at the right time is lifecycle emails. So according to Patrick McKenzie, whose Twitter handle is Patio11, like he is one of the most credible person to learn lifecycle emails from. So he writes a lot of good content in the digital world. So according to him, sending the right email to the right person at the right time is lifecycle email. Now, guys, what makes an email right for a person? What makes an email right? It's the relevant content that makes an email right for a person. So depending on what customer is doing on the website or what action they're doing, they are self-qualifying himself or herself to receive the content which is relevant to their journey. And with lifecycle emails, with automated lifecycle emails, you could customize the timing of the email that you're sending emails to customer at. So we'll learn in detail about these aspects and we'll come back to this definition again. Now, another way to look at, according to customer.io, which is a marketing automation tool, according to them, sending people emails based on what they do or don't do is lifecycle email. So basically, based on what customer is doing or what they're not doing, which you want them to do, is lifecycle email. So is it's another way to look at lifecycle emails. Let's take up example to understand like how lifecycle emails are being utilized by businesses. For which objective are they using lifecycle emails and how much the objective is getting fulfilled. So first example is of WP engine. WP engine, guys, you must have heard about WordPress. So basically, WordPress claim to power almost like 20% of the website in the digital world. So what happens is like when you're growing your website, when you're getting more and more users, it becomes slower after a point of time. There are a lot of performance issues that comes up. So there is a lot of optimization that is required. So WP Engine is a solution provider for WordPress based website. Okay. Now what they do is they provide you with a free site speed test and 1 month site optimization course. So basically what you can do is you can do your site speed test to check if as compared to benchmark, like how fast is your website loading or how slow it is, what are the things that you need to do to optimize it. You must have seen, guys, it used to happen with IRCTC, like during the Tatkal booking period, like the website used to become very slow and all. During the sales time, flash sales that happens on Amazon or Flipkart as well, like there are a lot of issues that come up in terms of performance of the website. So as any website is growing, like there are certain issues that comes up. It could affect the performance of the website. So WP Engine provides solution for WordPress based website. So it provides you with a free site speed test and 1 month site optimization course. So they have 1 month period during which customer have signed up for this free course. During this period, they need to reach out to customers to make them understand about the paid subscription that they have. So the strategy WP Engine have implemented is to send in the initial 3 weeks, sending the content which could build up trust and relationship with the customer, and in the fourth week, sending them the sales oriented material, basically the sales pitch for the paid subscription of WP Engine. So it's a simple strategy of building up trust and relationship in the initial 3 weeks by sending them 3 emails on different important topics of a growing website. So in the first week, they talk about performance tips, like how you can improve the performance of the website, load time of the pages, and various other aspects around performance. In the second week, they send content around scalability tips, like when you're scaling up your website from, let's say, 10 concurrent users at any point of time to 20 concurrent users or 50 concurrent users, how you can scale up, how you can plan so that the scale when your website is growing, it's much more smooth and process. And in the third week, they send content around security tips. So when you're growing, security of like you will be prone to much more hacking attacks as you grow bigger and bigger. So security of personal information of your users is of paramount importance for any business that happens. So that should share they share security tips in the week number 3, mentioning like what are the frameworks that you could implement, what are the things, tools you could utilize to secure personal information of your users. So their whole strategy is to send really informative and useful content to these customers in the initial 3 weeks, week over week, building up trust and relationship with them by providing them with credible content. And in the last week, sending them the sales pitch, making them understand about the paid subscription, paid solution that WP Engine have. So this is just a simple nurturing process that WP Engine is using to get more customer subscribe to the paid subscription at the end of the free trial. Now, a much more interesting example is of Citrix. Now, Citrix have multiple products, guys. They have 6 products. One of their product is what we are using for today's session, that is GoToMeeting. Now, in their case, they get a lot of leads from different sources through webinar, organic search, paid search, and various partnerships that they have. They are getting a lot of leads for these products. Okay. Now they were transferring earlier, what they were doing was they were transferring these leads to the sales team, and sales team were calling these guys to convert them off. Now what they thought of setting up a lifecycle email campaign to nurture these leads before transferring them to the sales team. Now their nurturing process of was of 3 weeks. They were sending one email in each week for 3 weeks talking about product benefits. Now, interesting part was like how they segmented the audiences. Okay, so they were getting a lot of leads. Let's understand like how they segmented it. So they segmented it based on 6 products. So obviously that makes sense as well. You want to send content uh, on the product that customer is interested in. So they segmented the overall audiences into based on 6 products, depending on the product they were interested in. Now, another factor they segmented audiences is on personas. Now, what are personas? So let me give you an example. Let's say we are in sales team of GoToMeeting. If I go to CMO of a company who heads the sales and marketing function, uh, the questions he may be asking me could be like around how much time it will take for his sales team to learn this tool, like how much efficiency will it bring to the sales processes, and how much time will it get implemented, and questions around it. If I go to CFO of the same company, questions he may be asking me around like how much time it will take to achieve ROI. What is the duration? Is there after sales service cost? What are the costs involved? What are the different aspects of cost that could come up? If I go to CTO of the same company, questions he may be asking me could be around like on which framework did we build this up, or how much time it will take for the integration? Will you be requiring internal help? How secure is your system? So questions around it. So you could see that depending on the job function, these people are having different sets of questions for the same product that I'm selling. Now, in the same way, like job function is one, like geographical markets work in different ways. Different industry will look at your solution in different ways. Uh, People based on their company size, like if a CFO of a company which have 1 crore revenue will be looking at your solution in a different way as compared to a company which have 1,000 crore revenue. So there are multiple variables. So depending on the characteristics of your users, you could create different personas. So in case of Citrix, they created 11 different personas and they used that to segment audiences. So based on 6 products and 11 personas, they segmented the overall audiences. And with this audience, they were sending one email each week for 3 weeks talking about product benefits customized for that particular persona. And with this simple process of lead nurturing, they were able to see an upside of $1.5 million of sales within just 4 months. So that's a huge upside for any business in terms of sales that they could get by simply utilizing lifecycle emails. So, guys, is the concept of personas clear to you? Like, is this example clear? Nikita, have a question. How can we get personas of customer on the basis of online search? Nikita, like when you generate leads, are you talking about in the context of this particular example only? Like they were getting leads from multiple sources, how they must have created personas? Do you understand? Like when we generate lead, we ask for information from customers. We ask them to sign up on a form. Now, personas are created depending on the information that customers have provided. You must have seen in case of B2B on the forms, in case of B2B businesses on the forms, like they ask you for your job function, company size, company name, industry. Did you ever see that kind of a form, Nikita? Nikita, leads are leads. Uh, Customers are in the research mode. They are looking for information. What we are doing is a different thing. What they are doing here is they are converting them into lead. Now, while converting them into lead, there is certain information that Citrix is asking. Now, once a customer converts into a lead, okay, they will be looking out for more information. It doesn't mean that they're not looking out for information. Now, by segmenting them based on the values that were provided by them in the sign up form, we are able to create much more customized information and send it to customers. That's the whole process. Is this clear now, Nikita? Okay. Now, what are the upsides of lifecycle emails? So, like to compare it with other channels, guys, that are there to see like what are the upsides that lifecycle emails provide. First thing is like when you compare it with display ads. So typically you remarket to customers who visits your website using display ads. So CTR, average CTR of display ad varies from 0.01% to maybe 1% or 0.1%. So 0.01% to 0.1% is the range that you typically get the CTR of display ads. Now with mobile ads coming up and all, the CTR could go up to 0.5% and all. But if you see the desktop engagement rate, that's the typical range 0.01% to 0.1% CTR. Now, if you're sending lifecycle emails which contains relevant content and a uh, good call to action, which is really relevant to what customer was looking for, it could generate more than 20% CTR. So, in terms of engagement that lifecycle email could bring, you could see the comparison with display ads, which could generate a CTR of 0.01% to 0.1%, as compared to lifecycle emails, it could generate uh, a CTR of more than 20% for most of the campaigns. So as we move forward, we'll see few more examples on, particularly in the second half of the session, we'll see how Lumisen got like 27% conversion rate for the lifecycle email campaign that they were doing. So not only CTR, but conversion rate could be as high as in double digit basically. So that's a huge upside for any business, for any campaign that they want to do. Getting a CTR of more than 20%, being able to engage this much customer like at that this level will be a huge thing for any business. Now, coming to like what type of content should you build up in case of B2B businesses? Now, in case of B2C business, guys, what happens is like there's a lot of customization that you could do depending on the industry, type of users, profiling of users, and all. But in case of B2B, it's more standardized industry altogether. So to understand like what kind of content really appeals in case of B2B businesses, it was a study that was done where multiple options were provided to customers to see what kind of customization do they expect in terms of the content. So starting from majority of the people preferred content related to the same industry. So that's the major preference that customer have. Uh, Looking at content to see like how exactly or how much understanding you have of the industry. So let's say if you're providing digital marketing services to a telecom provider like Airtel or Vodafone. Now, if you want to pitch your solution to a retailer like Big Bazaar, Big Bazaar wants to understand how much knowledge you have of retail industry. They don't want to get content of different industry. They want to see and understand your services by looking at the content that you have published of the retail industry itself. So people prefer content related to the same industry. Second major customization that they prefer is content targeted the job function. So that makes sense as well, like we discussed while discussing the example of Citrix, like how depending on the job function, people have different ways to look at the same solution. A CFO, CTO, or a CMO of a company will be looking at your solution in a different way. They will have different sets of questions, will be expecting different answers and different perspective depending on their job function. Other point is like 49% people prefer content targeting their company size. Now, company size is another variable based on which a particular person could be looking at your solution in a different way. As I mentioned, like a company which have like crores of revenue will be looking at your solution in a different way as compared to a small startup which started like 2 months back. So depending on the company size, it could be based on revenue, based on number of employees. They could be seeking customized content. And 29% people prefer content targeted the geography. So geographical markets have different requirements. They have different ways to look at the solution. And they have different depending on the requirements as well. So customization of content based on geography could be one more aspect that you could do if you're targeting B2B businesses. Are these four points clear, guys, in terms of customization of content? How these are the preferred variables that you could customize your content on. Are these 4 points clear, guys? Now, coming to another important aspect, which is automation of lifecycle emails. So you could send emails manually, you could automate the whole process. So let's see like what kind of upside does a business get when they automate the whole lifecycle email campaign. So SmartPack Equin is the example, guys, is the company. Earlier they were what they were doing was they were sending manual emails to customer. Now what they did, they created 40 events triggered lifecycle emails. So earlier they were sending manual emails based on these 40 events. Now they automated the whole process. Now, in case of automation, in case of automated lifecycle emails, their open rate increased to 28% as compared to 17% open rate that they were getting in case of manual emails. So, guys, what really got changed in case of automated emails? which resulted in increase in open rate. What do you think? What variable would have got changed in case of automated emails? Bhavya, it's based on 40 events. So same 40 events were triggering the email at that time. Same 40 events are triggering right now. But right now it's automated as compared to previous case which where we were sending it manually. So the conditions are same. Anything else? So guys, let's discuss simply like what makes you open an email. If you receive an email, what are the factors that could really that really affects open rate? Okay, subject line is there. What else? Santa, we talked about subject line. Relevancy of subject line is one point. We can't. Okay, relevancy of subject line. Only once a customer opens an email, they will be able to see content. So content will not play a part. It's the subject line that will play a part. What else? Sender of the email ID, guys. Does that affect open rate? Does that affect you opening an email or not? What about timing? Does timing affect timing of the email? So basically, there are three basic parameters. One is subject line, sender's email address, and timing of the email. Now, sender's email address in open as well as automated was same. There was no change that was done. Now, in terms of subject line as well, because 40 events, same 40 events were used. So basically, in case of manual as well as automated, same subject line was used. The only thing that gets changed in case of automated email is timing of the email. So you could customize the timing of the email according to customer's requirement or customer's preferences as compared to sending them manually where you will need to send emails in batches. Okay. Let's say Digital Nitya must have sent you almost like 20 or 50 emails till now. Now, based on your preferred opening time of the email, guys, let's say based on the historical data that I have, I could see that Nitin opens email after 8 p.m. on weekdays. Kamalpreet usually opens email between 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. on weekdays during lunchtime. Or maybe Bharat opens email on weekends after 3 p.m. So basically, I will have historically preferred timing of each one of you. And based on with automated emails, I could customize the timing of the email according to customers' preferred time. And that is the single variable that really resulted in increase in open rate to 28% as compared to 17% in case of manual. Is this point clear, guys? So Bhavya, whenever whichever tool you're using for sending emails to customer, it generates timestamp whenever a customer opens an email. Okay. Now, based on analyzing those emails, you will be able to get customers' preferred timing. Okay. Now, CTR improved to 5 to 6% for automated emails as compared to 2 to 3% in case of manual. Now, with automated emails, obviously timing was playing part in increase in CTR as well, but there was much more opportunity to customize the call to action in case of automated emails as compared to manual, and that resulted in increase in CTR to 5 to 6% as compared to 2 to 3% in case of manual. And conversion rate improved to 11% as compared to 6%. Revenue per email almost tripled to 44 cents as compared to 16 cents in case of manual. So every metric of around performance really improved with automated lifecycle emails as compared to manual because of the right timing, much more customization that was possible with automated emails as compared to sending lifecycle emails manually. Is this example clear, guys? So there is a huge upside that any business have in terms of automating the lifecycle emails that they're sending to customers as compared to sending it manually. Now, coming to understand like what are the different objectives that lifecycle emails could be used for. So basically, there these are the five major objectives that lifecycle emails are being used for by digital marketers. So majority of the people use it for nurturing and developing relations. We already took two examples of WP Engine and Citrix on how they're nurturing and developing relations with customers. So that's the major use case. That's the major objective that lifecycle emails are being used for. Second major objective is prospecting and qualifying leads. So we'll take up two examples on this, how a business could prospect and qualify leads. Then other than that, like other use cases are activation and increasing sales. So we took example of Kissmetrics in the last session, guys, how they are activating customers account, how they are increasing sales by providing with them with the right information, so that at the end of the free trial they could get customer to the paid subscription. Then 42% use it for retaining and asking for referrals. Like typically what happens with all the companies that you have signed up, from Myntra to Flipkart to Ola, Uber, Go Ibibo, Make My Trip, like they have it there. They use emails to retain you over a period of time, providing you with the information that could be of use to you. So, and then asking you for referrals time and again whenever they require a new push. So, retaining and asking for referral is the fourth major use case, and fifth one is completing post-sales transaction. So, particularly for e-commerce websites, like completing post-sales transaction is of paramount importance. So, they send you a series of emails depending on different triggers that are available. So, these are the five major use cases: nurturing and developing relations, prospecting and qualifying leads, activation and increasing sales, retaining and asking for referrals, and completing post-sales transaction. So guys, let me know if you have any questions, doubts, or if something is not clear on any of these five objectives. We'll just take up the examples on prospecting and qualifying leads. So that will be clearer in a minute. But if you have questions or doubts on any on other or any other point, let me know. Guys, are you able to hear me? Like, is everything? So feel free to ask any question if something is not clear. If you have even a bit of doubt, feel free to ask a question, guys. Now let's understand like how a business could qualify leads using lifecycle emails. So this is one unique use case of lifecycle emails. So first example is of an LMS company. LMS is nothing but learning management system. Uh, you log you log in into Digital Vidya's learning management system to access your courses, take quiz, and do task and all. So typically, the major users of an LMS business is either online education companies like Digital Vidya, Edureka, and all these companies are there. And second major users are all these big MNCs which have their own internal LMS, because they have their own internal trainings that people need to complete, their employees need to complete, and various other aspects around it. So these are the two major use cases, two major users of an LMS solution. Now, in case of online education companies, they have built up their own internal LMS system. Okay, because there is a lot of customization that they require and all, so it becomes cost effective as well as efficient if you build up your own internal LMS system. For big MNCs, they are the right customer for a LMS solution. Now, for these companies, like their HR team or learning and development team will be looking out for a business case to build relevant business case to present the right ROI for internal process. So let's say there is a company which is big enough, they want to implement an LMS system. So their team will be looking out for a business case which could justify the ROI, that justify the investment that will go into an LMS system, into setting up an LMS system, and how they will be able to achieve ROI over it. So what this particular company, which is a LMS solution provider, Cognitis, what they did, they created a landing page and they're targeting the keyword business case for an LMS system. Okay, so and people are searching for those keywords land onto this page. So this provides you with the opportunity to sign up on the form and receive a business case for an LMS system. Now, it could get a bit confusing, guys, but LMS system is a learning management system, just like what you logged in into Digital Vidya to access your course. So for big companies, they are looking for business cases to justify the investment in an LMS system, so that to get more buy-ins at the company level. So if they land onto this page, this landing page is promising them a business case for an LMS system. It shows you this graph which depicts like how your sales impact will go up, how your training investment will go down, and your cost saving will increase year over year for next 4 years. What kind of ROI can you expect? So this is the exact story that anybody who is looking for a LMS business case will be looking for. So people will be signing up on this form and all. If they submit the form, the next page they land onto is this, where they're simply getting a opportunity to download the business case. They could start LMS free trial from here as well. And on the right side there, this particular company has mentioned like what can be expected of this particular business case. Now over email as well, once customer have submitted information on that form, over email they receive all these content. There is a business case, there is a e-learning video on for external audiences on how to justify LMS ROI and how to build up a business case. And there is again a video on how to get your LMS budget approved. And they're providing you with the phone number as well. If you want to reach out to them, if you have any questions or doubts, you could directly reach out to the account manager at Cognitis, which is the company that created the landing page. So basically, customers who are looking for a business case for LMS will get one by signing up on the form. Now, Cognitas, what they do is they give 20 business days for customer to discuss internally. So, in case of B2B guys, in case of B2B businesses, the decision making cycle is slow. So, it could take up to 15 days, 20 days, 30 days, in certain cases, maybe 60 days to come to a decision. As compared to in case of B2C, the decision making cycle is a bit uh, faster. So basically, customer could decide within 3 to 5 days to if they want to buy a product or not. So in case of B2B, like in case of Cognitis, what they did, they waited for 20 business days. After that, they sent email to customers who submitted their information in the first step. So they reach out to them with this email. It says, "Thank you for downloading our business case on implementing an LMS. Since you already know the value a learning management system can bring, how do you convince rest of your organization? Every organization is different, so unfortunately, there is no template to figure this out. How much time and money would a solution save you? We can help you get the buy-in and calculate the estimated ROI. So just give us a call and we'll be happy to help." So they are checking out with the customers if they got the buy-in or not. If they haven't got the buy-in, like there's no standard template, so they can't help in convincing internal team members. But if they're looking for information on calculating how much time and effort and money a LMS system could save for a business, they could help you in calculating that for our business. All you have to do is you can reach out to them on this number. They will be happy to help. Now, second scenario is if people already got the buy-in, if people internally discussed an LMS system based on the business case that was being built up, and they got the buy-in, they could start their free trial from right here. So what they are doing is at Cognitis, they're qualifying leads by creating a simple process in between of this single email. What they're doing is they're qualifying leads so that to they will be spending time and effort only on those leads which are relevant, which will be replying to this email, either by starting the free trial or either by asking for more questions. Now, a similar example of on real estate. industry is of housevalues.com. In Western markets, particularly, the value of your house goes up and down frequently. So before selling house, people want to evaluate, people want a real estate professional to evaluate their house and get the right valuation done for their house to understand what kind of amount their house can fetch for them. So housevalues.com is one of the website that helps a customer in getting the right valuation for their house. So you need to provide your area zip code here. Then you need to select if you are a real estate professional or a mortgage professional. So here you could see that they could utilize this information to create personas. So if you're a real estate professional, you will be looking at different aspects as compared to if you are a mortgage professional. So first you need to provide your area zip code, then real if you need to select if you are a real estate professional or a mortgage professional. Then you need to fill up your contact information, then property information, how many bedrooms are there, parking spaces, overall condition, plot size, and various other required information about your house. So first you provide the postal code, then select real estate professional or a mortgage professional. Among these two options, you select one, then provide them with contact information and property information. Now you need to wait to receive an email from housevalues.com. Now this is the email that customer receives. So guys, how many call to actions can you see on this email? Or how many next steps can you see on this email? 5. Okay, so there are 5 call to actions. So basically, in this email, this is the range that your house could fetch for you. Connor Dowd is the real estate professional who evaluated your house based on the information that was being provided. And this is the valuation. If you're happy with it, that's great. If you're not, you could get a more detailed home evaluation done. So this is the most prominent call to action on this email. So if you want a more detailed home evaluation done, you could click here, provide much more information, pay some amount, and then a more detailed home evaluation will be done. Now, Connor Dowd is the real estate professional who evaluated your house based on the information that was being provided. Now, if you want to reach out to him over email, this you could click here directly. You will be able to send him the email. If you want to see his credibility, his profile before starting conversation with him or on selling your house, you could visit his website to know more about him. Or in certain cases where you want to connect with housevalues.com again, you have a call to action here. Disclaimer is a clickable element, but not a call to action. Not many people will be interested in clicking on it. But one interesting call to action is the phone number that is being provided here. So people who will be in urgent need of selling their house will be directly calling this guy. So this is how they have structured the overall email, which generates a lot of leads for them. So out of overall number of people who signed up, who were part of the process, 10% of the emails resulted into leads, and a few people directly called the agent. As we could see as well, like people who will be in urgent need of selling their house will be directly calling the agent, and 10% of the emails resulted into leads. So the overall conversion rate of 10% and a few people directly calling the leads is a huge upside, is a huge performance of the campaign that any like that you could get from any campaign. So 10% of the overall customer converted into leads, and few people directly called the agent. So here again, they by creating a layer between the overall process customer journey, they're qualifying leads. So the customers who will be converted off after going through the email will be a better qualified lead as compared to the leads that they will be getting at this stage. So prospecting and qualifying leads is another major use case of lifecycle email. Are these two examples clear, guys? Let me know if you have any questions or doubts. Okay, now other major use cases are of lifecycle email. One of the major one being like converting trial customer into paying customer. As we discussed earlier in the session number 3 as well, like most of the digital products provide you with a free trial. Okay, now converting trial customer into paying customer is one of the major use cases because while a customer starts the free trial, that is the most opportune time for you to make customer understand capabilities of your solution so that they could utilize all the capabilities of the solution that you provide, so that at the end of the free trial they are in a better position to decide if they want to continue with the paid subscription or not, or if it is worth to move into the paid subscription or not. So converting trial customer into paying customer is one of the major use cases. So from Netflix to LinkedIn Premium to Ghana.com to Apple Music, you will see you receive a series of email during the free trial, which either increases the engagement, either helps you in discovery of the new content on these content platform, or in cases of a tool-based product, like they make you understand like what are the capabilities of the tool that you have with the paid subscription and how you can utilize it. So you get a series of emails which helps you in understanding the solution in a much better way, so that at the end of the free trial you are in a better position to decide if you want to continue with the paid subscription or not. So that's the major use case that digital businesses are using lifecycle emails for. Now, second major use case is shopping cart recovery emails. So guys, you must have seen like if you add product to cart on any e-commerce platform, like you receive an email, and after that if you drop off you receive an email uh, reminding you about the products that you have uh, added in your cart, which you could complete the transaction now. So that is one of the major use case. Now, in particularly in last 6 to 8 months, what businesses have started doing is they've started sending you emails at different parts as well. So let's say if you are logged into Make My Trip or Yatra.com or GoIvibo, and you were searching for flights between Delhi and Mumbai. Now, after that, you drops off. Within 1 or 2 minutes, you will receive an email mentioning that looking for flights between Delhi and Mumbai, price starts now, right now with this much, and it will increase by $1,000 within 24 hours. And this is the price chart of the flights between Delhi and Mumbai for next 1 week. Guys, did you receive any those sort of emails from any of these players? Yatra, Make My Trip, GoIvibo? Now that's another major use case of lifecycle emails. Now what happens in case of e-commerce or these OTA businesses? People are not looking for information. It will be the right trigger at the right time, which will convert off people. Okay. So people are looking for best prices. That's something people are looking out in case of e-commerce players or online travel agents. So a right trigger will convert off people. So when we talk about customers being in the research mode, in that scenario, in case of online travel agents, they will be in research mode to find the best price. Information may not be the primary thing that people will be looking out unless until they're looking out for holiday packages and all. So all these businesses have started sending trigger emails not only for shopping cart recovery, but also depending on what you're searching or what action you're doing on the website. In real time, you get all these emails triggered to you, and the kind of conversion rate is huge as well. So for the emails, or for the flight emails that I have just mentioned, one of the use case, typically these companies are getting 15 to 20% conversion rate. So that's a huge point for any business of this sort, like where they are able to convert off 15 to 20% people who dropped off, who were looking for some solution on the website, but who dropped off. But by sending emails to them within next 1 or 2 minutes, you were able to re-engage them and convert 15 to 20% out of those users. So that's a huge upside for any business. So that's the trend, is to send more and more number of emails depending on what action they have done on the website. Now, coming back to the definition that we discussed while we were starting the session, sending the right email. So, with lifecycle emails, you're sending the content that recipient really cares about. So, based on what makes a person right for that email, basically recipient is self-qualifying himself or herself through their online behavior. So based on what action they're doing on the website, they're self-qualifying themselves to receive the content that you want to send to them based on their own journey on your website. So sending the right email to the right person at the right time with automated lifecycle emails, you could customize the timing of the email according to customers' preferred time. And that's what provides a huge advantage for lifecycle emails. Another way to look at it is like sending people emails based on what they do or don't do. Basically, you want them to do something on your website depending on what customers have done or what they have not done on your website. So to get them to do what you want them to do, you're providing them with the right trigger and the right information. So send people emails based on what they do or don't do is lifecycle emails. Are these two definitions clear to you guys? Let me know if you have any questions or doubts till now. Now, come now we'll learn about lead nurturing on how we can nurture leads with drip email marketing campaigns. So basically, companies that excel at lead nurturing generate 50% more sales ready leads at 33% lower cost per lead. So not only it's a cost effective way to nurture lead, but also it gives you much more better qualified leads for your business. So as we discussed example of Citrix and WP Engine, like by providing the right information, by providing the information that could help customers in understanding the solution in a much better way, we'll have better qualified leads, which will be much more aware about the solution that we are providing. And not only that, but also we will be able to convert these visitors, these people into leads at a 33% lower cost per lead. So that's a two-way advantage, not only of in getting better qualified leads, but also getting leads at a lower cost. So in terms of the ROI, like it exponentially increases the ROI for any business. So we'll discuss two detailed examples on that, guys. I think, but before that, let's take a break, and then in the second part of the session, we'll discuss these two examples simultaneously, and then we'll take up a business case to build drip email marketing campaign strategy for the business that we want to see. So let's take a break for 20 minutes. Does that work, guys? Let's recollect at 11:20. Okay, so break is a bit earlier today because I want to discuss both these examples simultaneously. So let's regather at 11:20 then, guys. In the meantime, if you have any questions or doubts, you can put that in the chat box, and once we regather at 11:20, I will take those up. Guys, is everyone back? Learn is we saw what lifecycle emails are. We saw sending the right email to the right person at the right time could be lifecycle email, or sending people emails based on what they do or don't do on the website to get them to do what you want them to do is lifecycle emails. We saw examples of Citrix and WP Engine on how they are nurturing customers, how they are nurturing these leads to convert them off before providing them with the sales information, how they are providing them with the right information or useful information, which is building up trust, relationship, and credibility with these audiences. Then we saw what are the different objectives that lifecycle emails could be used for, from nurturing and developing relations to prospecting and qualifying leads to completing post sales transaction or retaining and asking for referrals. So these are the major use cases of lifecycle emails that we discussed. We saw what kind of content really appeals in case of B2B, content customized for same industry, depending on job function of the lead or company size or geographical markets, are few of the preferred parameters based on which customer or leads expect customization of content in case of B2B businesses. Then we took one example of SmartPack Equin to see like what are the major upsides of automating lifecycle emails as compared to sending them manually. We saw the how the open rate improved to almost 28% as compared to 17% in case of manual, how CTR improved to 5 to 6% as compared to 2 to 3% in case of manual emails, and how ultimately the revenue per email increased to 44 cents as compared to 16 cents in case of manual. So there was upside across all the metrics, all the dimensions that of the performance of campaigns that we were able to see with SmartPack Equin. Then before getting into the break, we were discussing like what are other major use cases of lifecycle emails. So we saw like converting trial customer into paying customer is one of the major one. Another one is like shopping cart recovery emails. So not only nowadays like these e-commerce companies are sending you shopping cart recovery emails, but even if you're searching for something in their search bar, if you are looking out for some products, like even if you haven't added product to cart, they send you an email. So that really helps in providing the right trigger. So particularly in case of e-commerce and online travel agents, like it's the right trigger at the right time that drives more customers toward transaction rather than the information, because what people are seeking is the best price and uh, a way to quickly do their transaction. So providing the right trigger with the right information, basically the best price to customers will help in moving most of them forward to do the transactions. Now let's take up example of drip email marketing campaign to see like how these companies really set up and optimize their drip email marketing campaigns and what kind of results did they get. So when we talk about drip email marketing campaign, guys, as the name suggests, like it's all about sending series of emails to customer, depending on what you think could help customers in moving forward with their decision making process. So first example is of Tab. Now Tab is a company which helps organization to manage their print and digital documents. So guys, just to understand the solution that Tabs provide a bit, like what we can do is we can just get information from your site in terms of how many hours per week do you spend in finding the documents for the work you do, like how much time do you spend finding the documents across emails, your drives, or across files, both physically and digitally, like how many hours per week do you spend in finding the documents? If you can quickly tell me the number, guys, we could just do a bit of calculation to understand the solution that Tab provides to companies. Guys, I'm waiting for your responses. Guys, are you there in the session? Can I expect responses from each one of your side? These campaigns, what are the steps that they went through in setting up drip email marketing campaign for their business? So first step is segmenting audiences. So they were getting leads from multiple sources. So they wanted to segment audiences. That's the first step of any drip email marketing campaign. Now, one of the basic way to segment audience is based on the product or solution that they are interested in. So in case of Tab, they had two solutions. First one was like physical paper management solution. Second one was hybrid management solution where both physical and digital document management were being provided. So depending on which type of solution customer were interested in, they were segmented. Now, how they were able to look at these segments, basically because of the historical data that they had. So they had a web analytics tool in place, and based on that, they were able to track what kind of white paper people have downloaded, what kind of case studies, toolkits, articles they have read through, what kind of webinar that they have attended, who have spent more than 15 seconds on a related page, or various other actions that they were able to track. So based on web journeys of customers, they were able to categorize them into these two segments, basically understanding like which type of solution a particular lead is interested in. So is this step number one clear, guys? So they simply categorized the audiences that they had into these two segments, depending on the solution that they were interested in. Now, step number two was creating an outline of a basic buying cycle. So what are the stages probably that your customer could go through? So first stage for them was problem recognition, because that's the most important one, where people need to recognize the problem that they have, that this could be solved. Once only people are aware about the problem, they will be interested in knowing more about the solution. Otherwise, people will always think that, okay, managing print and digital document is not that lucrative. Then once people are aware about the problem, they need to be educated about the solution, like how exactly Tab kind of a solution solves this kind of a issue. Then once people will be aware about the problem, once they are aware about the solution as well, they will look out for similar solution in the market. So they will require help in evaluation of brand, how exactly Tab solution is better than the one provided by competitors. Now there could be certain questions, objections, or concerns that could come up in customers mind, so we need to address those as well. So that's stage number four. Stage number five is the decision making process. So basically, in the step number two, what needs to be done is, like for any drip email marketing campaign, you need to create an outline of a basic buying cycle, thinking through like what are the stages that customer will go through in their decision making process. So these are the five stages that Tab selected for their customer journey. So this is step number two. In step number three, what they did, they pulled up content from existing pools. So they had a lot of articles, case studies, toolkits, white papers already present on their website. So they pulled up all these articles, all these case studies, toolkits, white papers, and they categorized them into different stages in the buying cycle. So they created different content groups. So there was some article case study which could help customers in problem recognition. There was some article case study or white paper which could help customers in brand evaluation. So they pulled up all the content, categorized the content according to these five stages in the buying cycle, and they created five landing pages, each corresponding to one stage in the buying cycle. So for each stage in the buying cycle, they had a lot of content group. They have a lot of content, and one landing page for each stage in the buying cycle. Now, step number four, they created one email against each stage of the buying cycle. They used consistent design so that customer could have familiarity as they receive multiple emails from Tab. And each email was sent in a gap of 10 days. So overall nurturing process was of 40 days. So within these 40 days, five emails were sent, one email for each stage in the buying cycle, and each email brought potential buyers to the corresponding landing page. So basically what was happening was like the step number one was they segmented the audiences depending on the solution that audience were interested in. So they had two types of solution. One was physical paper management, another was hybrid management solution. So depending on what kind of solution customers are interested in, they segmented them. Step number two was like they created outline of a basic buying cycle. They thought through like what are the stages that customer will go through in their decision making. So problem recognition, educating about the solution, brand evaluation, objections, and decision. These were the five stages that they created. Step number three, they pulled up content from the existing pool. So they had a lot of articles, case studies, toolkits, white papers that they had. They pulled up all these content. They created five landing pages and content groups, each uh, targeted to each stage in the buying cycle. So for each stage in the buying cycle, they created content groups and one landing page. Okay. Now, into the getting into the campaign, so they created one email against each stage of the buying cycle. They used consistent design so that customer could have familiarity with the emails, and each email was sent in a gap of 10 days. So overall, the nurturing process was of 40 days. As I mentioned earlier, like in case of B2B, decision making process takes longer duration. Like it could take 30 days, 60 days, 40 days. That's the duration as compared to B2C, where the decision making process is usually between 3 to at max 7-10 days. And each email, in this case, brought potential buyers to the corresponding landing page. Now, for the leads that they had, they started on the campaign. For the new leads that were being generated, they were starting the first email after 3 days of them entering into the list. So they were providing initial 3 days for customer to explore and then see the website, and only then they were categorizing them into which segment they fall into and all. So other than that, so for the new emails that were being added to the list, first email was sent after 3 days of them entering into the list. For all the existing customers, all the existing potential buyers, like emails were started off immediately. Now, Nitin, I have a question. What is the idle email sent gap? So Nitin will come to that in the second example that we'll discuss, because there is no right answer to it. There is no standard in the industry for it, but we'll see like how to approach it. Now, coming to step number five, they were tracking. So they sent five emails to customers, series of five emails to customers to engage them, to provide them with the right content. Now, step number five was they were tracking three parameters across five emails. So they were tracking customer who clicked on the link in the email, customer who downloaded a piece of content from the landing page, customer who has spent more than 15 seconds on a landing page. So they were tracking these three parameters across five emails, and based on that, they provided scores to leads. Let's say there was 10,000 leads that they had in the nurturing process, to whom they were sending five emails each. So they were tracking these parameters to see like which lead have interacted with how many events, and based on that they were providing scores to them. So that is called lead scoring, where you're providing scores to customers depending on the action that they have performed, and after that they were transferring to the sales team. So let's understand a bit about lead scoring, guys, so that this is really important for any business or any campaign. So let's take a small sample. Let's say there were five customers. Let's say there was Isha, there was Ravi, there was Ujjwal, there was Yogesh, and there was Vikas. So these were the five customers who were part of the nurturing process. And what kind of events they were tracking? They were tracking customers who clicking on the link in email, downloading from landing page, or spending more than 15 seconds on landing page. So these were the three actions that they were tracking. Let's say for a single email, we got sample of five users. Now, in what are the data points for each one of these? Let's say Isha just clicked on the link in the email, didn't do anything else. In case of Ravi, he clicked on the link in the email, spent more than 15 seconds on the landing page, didn't do anything else. Ujjwal clicked on the link in the email, downloaded a piece of content from the landing page, but didn't do anything else. Yogesh didn't interacted with any of these three events. In case of Vikas, he clicked on the link in the email, spent more than 15 seconds on the landing page, and downloaded a piece of content from the landing page as well. So this is the data that we have about these five customers. Okay, sample of these 5 customers for one email. So, guys, based on the data that you have, who do you think is the most mature lead among these 5 customers? And why do you think so? Okay, according to Bharat and Bhavya, Vikas is the most mature lead. Guys, can I expect responses from each one of your side? Uh, okay, so basically, one of the basic premise that I think you're basing your answers on is on that more the number of events triggered by a customer, better is the understanding that particular lead have about the solution, and better is the maturity of the lead. Can we say that, guys? So higher the number of events that are triggered by a customer, better is the quality of the lead because they have interacted with much more uh, events and they understand the solution in a much better way. So one of the basic way to score leads is equated score model. What you do is you simply count the number of events that are triggered by a user, and based on that you will have a priority list. So let's say we are providing equal score to each one of these events. Uh, so what happens here is we could just simply sum this up and we'll have the final scores for each one of these users, which could provide us with a opportunity to see like which customer is the most mature one. So we could see Vikas, then comes Ravi and Ujjwal, then comes Isha, then Yogesh. So that gives us pretty much good understanding in terms of who all are the customers whom you should call first. What should be the priority list of calling? Now, one limitation with equal score model is where um, it doesn't take in account like different usability or different importance of events. So there comes like one of the confusion that comes up here is like who is more mature among Ujjwal and Ravi? Guys, what do you think? Like, let's say there are 500 customers who had a similar journey like Ujjwal, and there are 500 customers who had a similar journey like Ravi. Now your sales team could call just 500 people. Whom should they pick? Like, which group should they pick? Group which had a similar journey like Ujjwal, or group who had a similar journey like Ravi? What do you think? Okay, so you're saying Ujjwal. So is the premise that downloading a piece of content from the landing page is more valuable as compared to spending more than 15 seconds, guys? Is that the premise? So Bhavya, like again, we could part them, but we want to uh, conclude or come to a better solution if possible. Yes. So basically, there comes the weighted score model where we understand that we can't provide equal scores to all these events because their importance is relative. Okay, so they have differential importance, or they provide differential upsides to a customer when they trigger this particular event. So let's say we want to build up a better scoring model where weighted score model is where you're providing differential scores to individual events depending on their relative strengths or relative value addition. So let's say customers who just clicked on the link in the email have a score of 1. Now, how much more valuable a customer becomes when he or she spends more than 15 seconds on the landing page? That customer becomes 3 times as important. Okay. So you provide a score of 2 to the event spending more than 15 seconds on the landing page. Now, how much more valuable a customer will become when he or she downloads a piece of content from the landing page after clicking on the link in the email and spending more than 15 seconds on the landing page? That customer becomes 2 times as important. So you provide a score of 3 to download to the event downloading a landing page piece of content from the landing page. Now, guys, this is the simplest thing that I've done on the screen, like just providing whole numbers, a score in whole numbers to each one of these events, and then relatively doing anything which I want. But one other thing is, it may be just, let's say, in case of Isha and Ravi, Ravi just 10% more important as compared to Isha, because spending more than 15 seconds on the landing page is not adding that much value. Or maybe downloading a piece of from the landing page that makes customer 10 times as important. So that's the relative value that you need to think through. First time it will be based on your assumption, but the good thing is, once you will get the revenue data from the sales team of the first campaign, you will always be able to backtrack and see if the customer who had a similar journey like Vikas generated more revenue or not, or between Ravi and Ujwal, between these two groups, who generated more revenue? Customers who had a similar journey like Ujwal, or customer who had a similar journey like Ravi? So based on that, you will be able to validate which are you will be able to validate the assumptions that you will take. Here we just took assumption that is downloading a piece of content from the landing page is more valuable, so we provided a score of 3. We provided a score of 2 to spending more than 15 seconds on the landing page, mentioning that it's 2 times as important as compared to clicking on the link in the email. And based on that, we got scores of each one of these customers. So we will be able to validate with the revenue data. So in the initial first stage, you need to take assumptions, and you will be able to validate your assumptions based on the data that you will get from your sales team. So with every new drip email marketing campaign, your lead scoring will become much better and better. So it's a continuous iterative process which will become better and better, more and more accurate as you move forward with different campaigns. Is this clear, guys? Is the lead scoring model clear to you, each one of you? Uh, Bhavya, calculations are not that important. One thing you need to understand is we are providing different weightages to different events. Okay, that we all agreed on, that we can't provide equal scores to all the events because it has is its own limitation. So we provided a base score of 1 to customers who are clicking on the link in the email. So to this event, we provided a score of 1. Now, simply putting up, like, how much more valuable a customer becomes once they spend more than 15 seconds on the landing page. Let's say, let's assume, that was assumption, that that particular customer becomes 3 times as important. Okay. So Ravi is 3 times as important as Isha. They both have done the same event. So a score of 1 is being provided. So a score of 2 is provided to the second event, which is spending more than 15 seconds on the landing page. In the same way, how much more valuable a customer becomes when they download a piece of content from the landing page after spending more than 15 seconds and clicking on the link in the email. So let's say that customer becomes 2 times as important. So Vikas is 2 times as important as Ravi. You provide a score of 3 to the event downloading a piece of content from the landing page. This is a very crude way of doing calculations or providing scores to guys to each one of these events, but based on your own assumptions, you could do that. Now, the first case will be just based on assumptions, based on your own understanding of the business and all. Now, once you get the revenue data, you will be able to validate how relevant scores you were able to provide to these users. Now, based on the revenue data, you will be able to validate. Now, transferring the leads to the sales team after providing them a score will have two major upsides. First is your sales team will be able to prioritize among these customers. So that will be a huge boon for your sales team. Second thing is they will be able to customize the sales pitch according to the maturity of the customer. So within these users, you could easily see that Vikas understands the solution in a much better way, so they need not explain the solution in detail to him. as compared to Yogesh, like which who haven't interacted at all with the events. So he may require the basic understanding of the solution before he could be moved forward. So not only they will be able to prioritize, but also they will be able to customize the sales pitch according to the lead scores that you're providing. So lead scoring is one of the most efficient way to move forward if yours is a business where you're generating leads, and converting them off is a huge challenge for you. So with drip email marketing campaign, what did Tab do? First step, they segmented the audiences. One of the basic way to segment audiences depending on the solution of the product that particular audience is interested in. So they segmented the audiences depending on the solution they were interested in. Second step was they created outline of a basic buying cycle. 5 stages they thought through that customer will go through in the decision making process. So basically, problem recognition, education about the solution, brand evaluation, objections or concerns, and then decision making process. In the step number 3, they pulled up content from the existing pool. They had a lot of articles, case studies, toolkits that were available. So they created content groups and one landing page for each stage in the buying cycle. Step number 4, they created one email for each stage in the buying cycle. Emails were sent in a gap of 10 days. So overall nurturing process was of 40 days. And each email brought potential buyers to the corresponding landing page. In the step number 5, they were building up, they were tracking 3 parameters across 5 emails. They were scoring leads based on those events that are being triggered. These 3 events across 5 emails that are being triggered. And they were transferring the leads to the sales team. Now, in terms of the results that they got, so there was 133% increase in open rate for emails as compared to the normal emails that they were sending. There was a huge upside in terms of the CTR. So 650% increase in click-through rates for emails. And there was 32.6% increase in number of people who were downloading piece of content from the landing page. So in terms of engagement rate, like from open rate to click-through rate on the email to people downloading the content from the landing page, there was a huge increase in engagement rate on all of these 3 fronts. And sales team were really happy with the better qualified leads with a priority list. They were really happy in terms of the efficiency this kind of a process brought to them. So guys, is this example clear? If you have any sort of questions, doubts, let me know. Guys, if something is not clear, if you have any sort of doubts, let me know. Okay. Now, one of the things that we learned while learning while discussing lead scoring was like it's a continuous iterative process. With every new drip email marketing campaign, it will become much more efficient. So second example shows you that only. So Lumisen is the company which provides IT security resolution. So they already ran 12 drip email marketing campaign. Now let's see like how they went about improving the next drip email marketing campaign. That is the 13th campaign that they wanted to run. What kind of things they optimize for after running 12 drip email marketing campaigns. So how you can do iterations with drip email marketing campaigns, that let's learn with this particular example. So as I mentioned, they already ran 12 drip email marketing campaigns. So they had a lot of data. So first step they went through was they figured out the best leads. So they already had revenue data from the previous campaign. So they knew like who are the leads who generated most revenue. So what they did, they were trying to figure out the common traits of the best leads, common characteristics of the best leads in terms of which company vertical they were from, which lead source they were from, what was the offers that were taken, how many orders of the offers that were taken, how much time was spent on the website, and various other parameters that they were able to track and store. So they wanted to figure out the common traits of the best leads that they got based on revenue. Is this step number one clear, guys? Okay, sorry, I think so. Basically, it was all about figuring out the best, who are the best leads, which they could easily do because they have the revenue data. And second thing was figuring out the common traits, like which source they came from, what was the company vertical, what was the offers that were taken by that lead, or how many orders of the offers that were taken, how much time was spent on the website, and various other parameters that could be tracked. Is this step number one clear, guys? Okay. Now, step number two was like drawing upon the previous success. So they took forward assets from the existing campaign. So as I mentioned, they already ran 12 email marketing campaigns. So they had a lot of content. They had a lot of understanding in terms of what target, what kind of targeting and segmentation brings what kind of results. And they had lead scoring models in place. So they took forward all these assets from the previous campaign in this campaign. Now, what are the things that they tune the campaigns for? What are the things they changed in this campaign? So first thing was messaging and approach. So they changed the from field from marketing to account manager. Now, guys, one of the point that we discussed was like while discussing increase in open rate for smart pack equine was it depends on sender's email address. So you will see that if you're receiving emails from offers at abc.com or marketing at abc.com, there is less open rate as compared to if you're receiving email from a personal email address or a account manager at abc.com. So they changed the from field from marketing to account manager just to test that particular premise. That was the first change that they did. Second change that they did was reducing HTML focus. So more the HTML, higher is the time that a email takes to load. Reducing the HTML will improve the load time and does the open rate of the email. So if within 1.5 to 2 seconds an email is not loaded, people usually close it. So reducing HTML will help in that regard. So these are the 2 points that they tuned on messaging and approach. Now coming to the question that was asked, like what is the right timing or what is the right frequency of sending emails to customer? So there is no standard guide to it. What businesses do is they experiment and see which one is giving them better customers, and based on that they decide which frequency to work on. So in this case, Lumison wanted to take this opportunity to test. Bhavya, in your email marketing module, you will learn about HTMLization of emails. Okay. Okay. So what we were discussing was like what kind of parameters that Lumison changed in this particular campaign. So first thing was they changed the from field from marketing to account manager. They reduced HTML focus in the emails. Now, the most interesting part was like timing and the volume. That question always comes up, like what is the right frequency? How many emails should we send to customers? And at what should be like how many emails are required to nurture customers? So there is no right or there is no standard guide to it, guys. There is no standard number to it. For different industry as well, it's all about like testing different approaches and seeing like what is giving you better customers, what is giving you better leads, and based on that moving forward. So they segmented the overall audiences into 4 segments. With the first segment they sent uh, 2 emails in 1 week. So that was the whole nurturing process, just sending 2 emails in 1 week. So they wanted to test, can they nurture customers within a week's time by sending 2 emails. To the second segment, they sent 3 emails in 3 weeks. To the third segment, they sent 6 emails in 3 weeks. To the fourth segment, they sent 4 emails in 8 weeks. So they were testing these 4 different approaches Bhavya, as I mentioned, like there is no right number to it. So there is no way you can drive these numbers. You just take assumptions and you test your assumptions to see can you nurture customers within a week's time by sending two emails, maybe sending four emails in 4 weeks, maybe sending two emails in 4 weeks. So it's all about doing iterations and seeing like which one is giving you better results. Yes. Now, Samta, as I mentioned earlier as well, when we say reducing HTML focus, lesser the HTML in an email, higher is the better will be the open rate because faster your email will load. You must have seen like a lot of emails that comes up, which are highly HTMLized. It takes a lot of time to open that email or in loading of that email. So reducing HTML improves the performance of the email in terms of load time and all. Now, in terms of content, what they did, they were offering guides, lot of informational content in the initial emails. Later, later emails converted like the content into sales-oriented material like trial, demo, and all. So these were the three major things that they changed across the 13th drip email marketing campaign. And what kind of results that they get as compared to the previous campaigns. So there was 225% increase in sales ready leads. So that's a huge upside in terms of the sales readiness of the leads. There was 376% more engagement per lead. So not only sales ready leads increased, but also engagement per lead increased as well. And there was 489% increase in leads with multiple engagement, 12.1% increase in leads with at least one engagement. And overall, 27% opportunities generated like this became customers. So the conversion rate for this kind of a campaign was 27%. So that's a huge number for any business, like getting 27%, converting of 27% customers of one campaign is a huge number for any business. So they were able to simply achieve it by using drip email marketing campaign to nurture these leads. And by tuning the campaign based on the parameters that we have just discussed right now. So guys, is this example clear? Let me know if you have any questions or doubts. Okay. Now let's understand like how you can design your own drip email marketing campaign. So these were the examples, like particularly B2B examples, so that may not have given you context of B2C. So let's take up a business case of a B2C business, like business case of a B2C player, like let's say Myntra.com, a typical e-commerce company. That's the major use cases that you will see in case of B2C. And let's try to build up a drip email marketing campaign for them. And that will give us a better perspective in terms of how these things could be implemented and could be utilized. So B2B is one scenario, B2C will give us a different dimension to the understanding altogether. So let's say Myntra wants to launch a new women clothing premium brand, and they want to nurture customers for that. So they already have a lot of audiences. People have signed up. Millions of people have already signed up on Myntra. So they have a lot of data that about those customers. Now it's all about choosing the right segment from those audiences that they already have, and then providing them with the right content to nurture them, make them aware about the new brand that they're launching, which is a premium women clothing brand, formal wear brand. Is the problem statement clear to each one of you guys? So, Bhavya, what you understood based on whatever I've just mentioned? So, example is of Mantra. Now they want to launch a new women clothing brand, which is a premium formal wear. They want to launch, let's say, next week. Now they want to create a drip email marketing campaign to make people aware about the launch that will happen or the product that they're launching. Does that make the problem statement clear, Bhavya? Okay. So now let's understand like how they can go about creating a drip email marketing campaign to nurture the customers. First thing is, guys, step number one of any drip email marketing campaign is, do you remember, guys, what is the step number one? Guys, just think through. You have time. What is the step number one? Which is the most crucial step in the overall journey? More efficient you are at step number one, better will be your, okay, introduction, right customer, right time. No, none of these are there. Just think through. What is the step number one? What did Tab did like in step number one? What did they do? No, we are not talking about automated lifecycle emails, Kamalpreet. Like, it's not about timing. What did Tab do? In case of Tab, like, what was the step number one? Segmentation. Yeah, that's correct. So, first step is segmenting your audiences. Segmentation of audiences. The audiences you have, better you are able to segment them, higher will be your efficiency of the drip email marketing campaign. So success of your drip email marketing campaign is 90% dependent on how efficiently you have segmented the audiences that you have. So what are the variables do you think, guys, Mantra have? So they have a lot of people who have signed up, millions of people who have signed up on their platform. So they have a lot of data. So what are the few of the variables that you think, if we can include them to segment audiences, it will be helpful in this case? So basic way to segment audience, like in case of Tab, what they did was they segmented it based on the solution customer is interested in. So but in case of Mantra, in case of B2C, we have a lot more data than what B2B businesses have. So what are the variables? Gender is one. Okay, Samta have a good suggestion. What else? Age. If Mantra is able to track age, that that makes sense as well. What else? Let's list down all the variables, guys. That could be useful, and then we'll select among those variables. If we get 20, 25 variables in our list, we'll select at a later stage among those. Okay, maybe city uh, will help as well. Spending pattern, like any particular variable you could think of, Bhavya, like that could help us in spending pattern. Samta, how we'll be able to understand the buying capacity? Like any variable, anything that you think Mantra tracks about you, which could help Mantra in understanding buying capacity that you have. So few of the variables that could be collectively called browsing history, like variables related to browsing history, which includes number of visits, frequency of visits, a brand that people are visiting, category that people are visiting, price range that people are visiting. So browsing history could be helpful, guys. In the same way, transactional history, variables around transactional history like number of transactions, frequency, transaction size, brand, category, and various other variables you could think around transaction. Okay. So these are two major categories. I think browsing history and transactional history will cover most of the variables. But what else? Anything else you could think of other than these? Vipin, how Mantra will be able to figure out the professional background, like if a customer is student or working professional, like is there any information that they capture about you? Okay, sorry for that, Nitin. Is it fine now? Okay, I think it should be fine now. So, guys, any other variables you could think of which could? So, one of the basic thing is because it's a premium brand that Mantra is launching. So, we obviously want to understand like who are the customers who have higher purchasing power. So, any other variable you could think of which could help us in figuring out the customers with higher purchasing power? Transactional history will help us in that scenario. Like, yes, Bhavya, that's a good suggestion. So basically, type of credit card. What do you think, guys? Will that help? So what happens is like there are different companies. All the credit card providers have different categories of credit cards that they have. And these big e-commerce companies, they have their own payment gateway where they're and based on the card number, you could easily categorize what is the category of that card. Not only the provider, not only the network, but also the category of the card. And there are premium cards which each one of these providers are providing. There are mid-level cards, there are lower end of cards. And then based on the disposable income that you have, they're providing you with different types of credit cards. So type of credit card could be one variable that could really give us what we are seeking. Now you could easily say that okay, maybe just 2% of the users are using credit card. That will not give us the broader information. But when you're selecting variables, guys, one thing always you need to remember is variables should help you in refining your audiences. May not give you 100% accuracy in terms of defining audiences. May not give you with 100% accuracy what you're seeking. But if a particular variable improves your segments, that is the variable you should use. So type of credit card will refine the segments to a further extent. It may not give you information for 100% of the people. It may not give you 100% accuracy that because certain people may not be using credit card for online shopping. They may have premium cards, but they're not using. So for them, you will not be able to figure out. But for the people who are using it, you will be able to figure out with good accuracy. So you need to think of variables that refines your segments to a greater extent. Now, mode of payment could be helpful as well. So if a customer is using net banking, if a customer is using debit card, if a customer is using credit card, mode of payment could be one, and over that, it could be type of credit card that could be helpful. Anything else you could think of, guys? Any other variable? What about device? Will that help? Like all these premium devices will have customers who will have higher disposable income, guys. So type of device, like we could create different categories. You are able to with any web analytics tool, you are able to see like which device customer is visiting your website, like, and then you always see across businesses people who are using iPhone have a better ROI, have a better conversion rate, and then that's across different businesses I've worked for. So you will see there are a lot of patterns based on devices. Yes, Bhavya, any web analytics tool will give you that information. Yes, so you could see which model number, like if you're using a Samsung Galaxy Note 8, which have four, or let's say two variants, you will be able to see which variant it is. Like, yes, yes, yes. So within the brands itself, within a particular category of the phone, Galaxy Note 8, if there are two variants, okay, you will be able to get the basic build-up number of a mobile. So that is there as well. So types of devices, in that case, you will be able to create category of the devices, like the devices which are more than 40,000 rupees, devices between 20,000 to 40,000, devices between 10,000 to 20,000, and less than 10,000. These are particularly the categories that businesses have created, and people using different devices will fall into different purchasing power. Now, beyond that, like it will be, people are using iPad. Within tab, there are multiple options. Within laptops, there are multiple options. So devices is a great way to figure out buying capacity of customers. It helps in bettering the segmentation. So guys, that's where I was mentioning that if you do segmentation of audiences in an elaborate way, 90% success of your drip email marketing campaign is certain in the step number one itself. Yes, Bhavya. So basically, Mahindra have, like, if they have transactional data, they will know the pin code. Okay, so let's say within, based on pin codes as well, there are certain information that is available, like which are the posh areas in a particular city, which are the pin codes. If people are working in these pin codes, they have higher purchasing power. If people are living in these pin codes, they have higher purchasing power. If you want to get to a more granular level, if people are living in a particular society within that pin code, so there are these societies which have high density of high net worth individual. So you are able to get that data as well, because in Mantra, people use the address for delivering their order. So if they have if they have purchased even a single product, you will have that address and you will be able to categorize them at a better level. So city is one level, then pin code, then comes society, or a particular small area. So that could help at a granular level as well. So the thing is, guys, you could get to as granular level as possible in case of segmenting audiences. Better you're able to do it at that this stage, and you could see that at a overall level, we could just think of gender, age, city. As we were discussing further and further, if we think through, we'll be able to get to much more granular level than we are at this discussion. So it's all about seeing through what information do you have and how you can utilize it in the best way possible. So segmenting audiences is the most crucial aspect, and it's what is the backbone of the drip email marketing campaign. So once you do that, like we have just listed down all the variables, you could think through like how important these variables are. So what is the step number two that we discussed? So once we have segmented the audiences based on the right variables, what do you think, guys? What is the step number two? What was the step number two in case of tab? Creating outline of a basic buying cycle, guys. So you need to think through what are the stages that customer will go through in their decision making process. Let's say in case of Mantra, when we want to make customers aware about a new brand, we want to make them aware about the brand. Once they will get aware about the brand, they will evaluate, they will compare it with other brands that are available in the market. So evaluation is the second stage, and then comes decision making stage. So first they will get aware about the brand. Then second stage is they will evaluate it, compare it with the brands that are available in the market, and then comes decision making stage. Does that work, guys? So this is on us. Like we could, let's say, okay, we could say People will get aware, they will evaluate, and then there could be certain concerns or objections that could be there. So it could be a 4 step journey. uh, so how you think through, like for the first time as well, just think through like what could be the series of content if you provide to customers, it could help them in their decision making process. So first is you provide them lot of material on awareness, like you make them aware about the new brand, what is the uniqueness of this brand. You talk about the endorsement that happens, so that they get aware about it. The moment customer will get aware about a particular brand, they will start comparing it with the ones that are available in the market, which are competitors. So they will require content that could help them in evaluation, understanding how this particular brand is better than the one which is there with the competitors. And then comes, now you could decide, okay, there could be concerns or questions that could come up in customers mind. What could happen in case of, let's say, digital vidya? So if I make you aware about the scope of digital marketing, okay, if you are not aware about anything, I just make you aware about the scope of digital marketing. The next thing you will do is you will look out for, if you're interested in learning digital marketing, you will look out for the solutions that are available. So you will evaluate what are the options that are available in the market. So I need to make you aware about how digital Vidya solution is better than the ones that are available with competitors. Now there could be next stage where you have concerns or objections in your mind, like in terms of why just online classes. We discussed all those questions in the last session. So there could be stage where it could come up in terms of objections or concerns that you have, and then there could be a decision making stage. So it could be 4 stages that you would think of in the buying cycle of customers. In this case, because it's an e-commerce example, we could work with 2 or 3 stages itself, because not much content is required. Guys, are you able to hear me properly? Like Bharat is facing some issue. Guys, are you able to hear me? Okay. Two yes, two no, uh, three yes, three no. Okay. Half of you are able to, but okay, I got one yes, no respond as well from Nitin. Okay, so guys, let me re-explain this particular step. Okay, I hope I'm audible right now. Okay, so basically, the step number two is all about you need to think through what are the stages your customer will go through in their decision making process. So we simply put up awareness, evaluation, and decision making. So is the step number two clear? Like, do I need to explain further? Is the step number two clear, guys? Now, I think it will be much more clearer with when we discuss about the content for each stage. So once you create an outline of a basic buying cycle, what you do is you think of content for each stage in the buying cycle. Now, how you will be able to generate awareness, guys? Any suggestion? The brand that you're launching, we could talk about USPs of brand. We could talk about endorsements. In terms of evaluation, we could give a detailed comparison, uh, detailed comparison with different brands and all. In terms of decision making steps, like we could provide a cashback, a call to action, which could really create a compelling case for customer to click and go to the website to purchase the product. Nikita, where does FB and Twitter ad came up? Like the whole drip email marketing campaign we are doing through emails. Yes, we could do thousand more things, like from outdoor hoardings to TV ads to Facebook and Twitter ads to LinkedIn ads to like you could do thousands of things depending on, like if it's a woman formal wear clothing, like LinkedIn could make more sense, I think, as compared to Twitter. But we could do all those things. But what our objective is, through drip email marketing campaigns, we wanted to create awareness for a new brand that we are launching for Myntra, because it will be the most cost effective one. We already saw a few of the results that these businesses got. Like in case of Lomison, it was 27% conversion rate. In case of housevalues.com, 10% conversion rate. So that is one part. Like it's more exhaustive in terms of bringing awareness for the information or the brand that you want to launch. Second thing is, it's the most cost effective one, because sending email is comes at a almost negligible cost. Now, why it could be much more efficient? Because in case of FB, you may utilize these parameters, but not at a exhaustive level at you could do in case of emails. So in case of emails, you could use all these variables and target customers at individual level based on the segmentation, as compared to Twitter, Facebook, and any other channel where you will always have limitation in terms of how much customization can you do. If you don't think about the cost, then also. Is this point clear, Nikita? So in step number three, you need to think of the content for each stage in the buying cycle. So here in this case, we had three stages. I just wrote down few of the points, guys, which could help us in awareness, which could help us in evaluation or decision making process. Obviously, based on that, these points could be expanded, and then the content could be created there. Now, step number four is like deciding on the email schedule. So let's say we'll send one email for each stage in a gap of 3 days. So every fourth day we'll send one email. So within 7 days we'll be able to nurture these customers with three emails, series of three emails, and then we'll be able to convert them off, most of them. So one email for each stage in the buying cycle. Total three stages are there. One email in a gap sent in a gap of 3 days, bringing customers to the page of the brand. Now coming back to the first stage. So as you could see, for any drip email marketing campaign, the most crucial aspect is how you're segmenting audiences. If you're able to segment audiences very well, you will be able to create that level of custom content here. And in terms of results, you will be able to see then a huge upside because of it. So guys, is this example clear? Will you be able to build up a drip email marketing campaign for any business now? Guys, will you be able to build up drip email marketing campaign for a business now? That's what the task is all about for you. So you need to take up a business case and try to build up a drip email marketing campaign for that particular business. So guys, let me know if you have any questions or doubts on any aspect of drip email marketing campaigns. So I think with an example, B2C example, it gives you much more clarity in terms of how you can create a campaign. We already took examples of B2B businesses. Now, when it's all about like segmenting your audiences, then creating outline of a basic buying cycle, then deciding the content for each stage in the buying cycle, then creating the email schedule. Step number 5 is like creating lead scoring model. So depending on what action you are able to track, or what action that are really important for your business, which you are able to track across emails, you will be able to create lead scoring model. Now, what are the important tools that could be helpful in these scenarios? So first thing is like you have automated campaigns that you could create using tools like customer.io, part.ecola, marketo. Now, these tools are basically you decide on your website what are the events that you want to trigger an email on. So let's say on flipkart.com, whenever a customer will sign up, a email will be triggered. Whenever a customer is have searched for something and dropped off without moving forward, there will be an email that will be triggered. Then customer who have added product to cart but have not and after that dropped off, uh, there will be an email that will be triggered. So you decide on the events that will trigger an email. With these kind of tools, you will be able to mention those events and will be able to trigger emails accordingly. So these are marketing automation tools, guys. Could be integrated by a tech team within a day's time. The important aspect is understanding and then thinking through what are the events that you will trigger an email on. Now, once you have done that, you need to set up analytics tool as well. A analytics tool like Mixpanel, Kissmetrics, or Intercom.io will help you in understanding at individual level what customer is doing. So with Google Analytics, the limitation is it gives you data at aggregated level. It can't tell me like what Kamal Preet have done on the website, or what Nikita had done on the website, or what action Bharat has performed. It could tell me like there were 3 customers who visited our website, who visited all these pages. Okay, that's the maximum. But I will not be able to map it to customers' individual ID. So that's one limitation that Google Analytics have. So you need to have an analytics tool like Mixpanel, Intercom.io, or Kissmetrics, so that you could track customer journey at individual level and will be able to map it to their personal IDs. And the third point is you need to store the historical data of campaigns as well as customer journey on your website. So having a CRM really is always the best practice, because you are able to store customers interaction data uh, on your server. Either you could do it on your server, you could create your own CRM solution, or you could subscribe to a third party like HubSpot and all, or Salesforce. So why it is required? Because to iterate for new campaigns, to improve your lead scoring models further with new campaigns, you will require historical data. So it will always help you in segmenting the audiences in a much better way, in iterating with a better lead scoring model, and improving the overall quality of every next campaign that you will do. Commentary Zoho is a good CRM as well. So any CRM solution will work. So the objective is to have historical data handy with us, so that to improve, we can leverage the historical data to improve campaign performance. And always remember one thing, guys, like there are no set rules to it. There's always a base structure that we already discussed by taking a lot of examples, but there are not any set rules for any of the things that you need to execute. So you could always assume, execute, test your assumptions based on the results that you will get. You will always understand if your assumptions were right, or how much right or wrong they were, and based on that you could optimize. And while you're repeating the whole process for the next cycle, you could optimize based on the learnings that you will have from the first cycle. So it's a continuous iterative process where the performance of next drip email marketing campaign is always better than the current one, because every aspect of the drip email marketing campaign become better and better with more data that you will get. So guys, is this whole process clear? Let me know if you have any questions or doubts. So with that, we are through today's session and the overall module, inbound marketing module. So drip email marketing campaign is an interesting topic altogether. Like there could be much more customization in terms of content that could be done. There could be much more customization in terms of how you create segments, how you create a better lead scoring model. There could be a lot of things that could be done, guys. So we have discussed and touched upon the core ones, which forms a structure of lifecycle emails, which forms a structure of a drip email marketing campaign. So as you go through the task, you will have much more custom questions. Okay, in a particular business case scenario, how much more customization can you do in terms of content, or how to create better segments? So if you get stuck anywhere while going through the task or quiz, feel free to reach out to me. I've just provided with my email address, guys. Now, completion of task is really important for you to understand like how these things could be implemented. As I have been mentioning from the session number one, task is the most important aspect of this module because it will help you in understanding how these things could be implemented, which we have discussed in the session. So it will be great if you could attempt the task over next 1 week itself. Feel free to reach out to me over email. I will be able to reply back within few hours. If you get stuck anywhere, if you have any questions, doubts, guys, feel free to reach out to me. I have provided you the feedback link for the module. It will be really great if you could provide the feedback for the overall module. It will help us in understanding what is going well, where we can improve upon, and things around which will really help us in making further sessions better. So guys, let me know once the feedback is done. In the meantime, we can utilize this time to address any questions or doubts that you have, or any particular thing which you're not clear with, any sort of questions, discussion you want, we can have. We can utilize next 10-15 minutes for that, guys. Bhavya, let me know what your question is around task. Yes, it's already there in the LMS. Like you always have a task in your LMS uploaded, so those are fixed. So you could attempt it today itself because the content is fresh in your mind. So it will be the best time to attempt the task. Bhavya, I don't have any blog or page, but I do have a LinkedIn ID where you could stay in touch. Like if you want, you can add me there. I've just provided. Guys, I've just provided my LinkedIn address. Like, if you want to you want to stay in touch, feel free to add me on LinkedIn. Guys, let me know once the feedback is done. Or in the meantime, if you have any questions or doubts, feel free to ask. Vipin, I will just provide it again. Yeah, guys, you have the feedback link in the chat box again. So, guys, I think in case of no further questions, we can end today's session. Thanks everyone for joining in. All the best for your learning at Digital Vidya. I hope you have a great learning experience throughout your course. Feel free to reach out to me if you get stuck anywhere, if you have any questions or doubts, whenever you are getting time to complete the task or when you're going through the recording. If at any time, if you get any questions or doubts, feel free to reach out to me. All the best, guys, for career in digital marketing and your learning at Digital Vidya. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, everyone, for joining. Have a great day, guys.